Moronkola. Got it. Got it.
All right, thank you very much.
YouTube, what's up?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show.
In association with Stanbic IBTC. Stanbic IBTC. It can be.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. Thank you very much for staying tuned. I'm Ayo Mairo-Ese, and it's time for today's edition of Business Express 981. We're going to be having a capital market review with Stanbic IBTC. Rotus, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining me.
Yes, indeed. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning to all our viewers. Hope everybody is doing fine. Is today Thursday?
Today is Thursday.
All right, great stuff.
All right, so we have a guest with us from Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers. She's an equities trader there, Abimbola Moronkola. Good morning, Abimbola. Great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Ayo and Rotus, and thank you for having me on your show.
Excellent. All right, Rotus, if I hand over to you now, I'll just reel out how people can connect with us. We're live on YouTube right now, so you can head on to our YouTube channel.com, search for Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You'd see that we're live. You can also use the chat box to send us messages or questions, perhaps, as we have this conversation. Also, if you'd prefer, you can send your message through our WhatsApp platform. WhatsApp is 0809 444 0981.
Great stuff. There's some news we'll get to if we have time. I hear the President Buhari has hired a new head of the NEPC, National Export Promotion Council, and also something about the central bank fining people who operate accounts without BVN. We'll get into that. That's just the news, because I trust a couple other people might bring that up when questions start coming, because the news yesterday. But let's start with the NGX. Abimbola, again, thank you so much for joining us. How would you appraise the performance of the NGX, I guess, since the beginning of this quarter, which just started a week or two ago? How do you appraise it?
Okay, thank you. So the NGX actually in the Q3 closed in the positive region, where we saw the ASI gain about 6.10%. And it seems the positive sentiments trickled into the first week of Q4, as we saw the ASI as well gain 1.61% last week. Also going into this week, although it started on a negative note with the ASI losing 38 bips on Monday, but on Tuesday, we saw it return to the positive sentiment as it closed in the positive region on Tuesday by gaining 45 basis points and 38 basis points on Wednesday, that's yesterday. Looking at the activity chart, last week, the financial services industry led the chart with about 1.77 billion shares traded. That contributed to about 81.20% of the total volume traded in the market. And also this week, we've also seen that play in the market as well. Activity is still led by that same industry, the financial services, and to be specific, banking as a banking sector, the likes of majorly everyone attributing to the volume traded in the market. Outside the banking names and a few other crosses in other quality names, the market is still relatively quiet as investors are still cautious, and some are even more comfortable investing in the fixed income market. And in terms of participation, it's still more of local participation. And when we say local participation, we mean the HNIs and some institutional investors, while the foreign investors are still quiet as in due to the FX liquidity issues. And so we've not seen any major new inflow from them to participate in our market. Instead, a few of them that we get to see in the market are still net sellers, and while some of them are still looking for fungible stocks like the likes of Airtel and Seplat to take out their funds from Nigeria. So that's basically what has been happening in our market since the beginning of the new quarter.
Thank you very much. Great stuff. So if I hear you correctly, domestic investors are still driving activity. Foreign investors are still on the sidelines due to FX matters. The financial services sector is the main sector that's driving activity. And it looks like investors are still looking at fixed income and tempted by the yields they're getting there. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. There was some news with who was it now? Champions Breweries, I think, announcing mandatory takeover of, I guess, minority shares by very soon. What's happening there?
Okay, yes, on Monday, that's 11th of October, Champion Breweries noted the investing public and the Nigerian Exchange Limited of the proposed mandatory takeover by the Racing Nigeria Limited. And the Racing intends to acquire about 1.2 billion ordinary shares from the minority shareholders of Champion Breweries. And this is in line with the SEC regulation, the SEC regulation, which speaks to the fact that a takeover bid is required to be made by a person holding up to 30% or more of the voting rights of a company. And if we recall earlier this year, there was a block trade in Champion Breweries, and that was Racing increasing its stake from 61% to about 85%. And that's actually led to the required mandatory takeover bid. And if that happens and if it's successful, we expect Champion Breweries to become a private company, or we suspect that there might be a merger between Champion Breweries and Nigerian Breweries, like we saw in 2014, when there was a merger between Consolidated Breweries and Nigerian Breweries then. So we suspect either it goes Champion Breweries is going to becomes a private company, or they get to merge with Nigerian Breweries. And since that news on Monday, we've seen increased buying interest in Champion Breweries shares. On Monday, it gained 9.5%. On Tuesday, it was on full bid, closed at limit up. And on Wednesday, that's yesterday as well, it's also closed at, it gained about 9.88%. So it's the news has been positive for the stock as it continued to inch, the price continued to inch higher.
All right, great stuff. Yeah, the brewery sector, they've had their challenges, excise duties and compressed pockets of Nigerians. We'll see how things, I think normally this quarter is when they usually do well, the fourth quarter with the festive season coming, or hopefully Nigerians go and drink their sorrows away. So we'll see how the brewery sector, we'll see how they figure that. They usually do well. Fourth quarter is when breweries.
We don't advise that, please.
Fourth quarter is when breweries usually does well. Christmas period, you see people going and buying drinks and parties and so on. So yeah. I hope I pick up, but it's been a challenge for them. Thank you for that, Abimbola. Okay, you mentioned the banking sector earlier, and I think you mentioned increased activity in FBNH. What's happening there?
Okay, so in the past 2 weeks or so, we saw like an increased buying interest in that name. The demand has been really very high. We saw FBN grow from, that's the price inch higher from 750 levels where it was two weeks ago to about 10 naira, so 10 naira 95 kobo where it closed yesterday. And there's been various speculations, rumors in the market, which are yet to be verified. However, due to the liquidity of the stocks, we saw a lot of volume trade in that name. Last week, we saw an off-market deal of about 473 million units at 16 naira, which was executed by FBN Quest. And the rumors was executed for related parties. We don't have the facts yet. Outside that, we've seen a turnover of about 100 million on a daily basis. And our recommendation is a buy, although our own banking analyst target price is about 8.8 naira, 8 naira. And but it's over that price right now, but it's still a buy recommendation from us. We suspect, as in the rumors as it that you might get to that 16 naira levels where the off-market deal was executed.
That would be something. I'm being really cautious. Again, folks that are tuning in, just remember to contact a financial advisor like Stanbic IBTC to get some advice, because when you start seeing shares rallying and climbing, there's always something behind it. So I'm being a bit cautious watching things from the background and seeing how they work out. I hope we still have Abimbola, because it looks like Abimbola is still with us. I'm not sure if her connection's
Yes, I think
frozen.
she's had a bit of a challenge with the connection.
Okay,
So
no, that's
hopefully she'll join us shortly. She'll join us again shortly.
she will. So I mean, is she with us?
Not yet.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so no, remember I mentioned about the solid stuff from her. We appreciate her insights on what's been going on. I did quickly mention that President Buhari has hired a new CEO for the head of the I keep an N in an acronym. I keep mixing up national.
And it's Nigerian or national.
It's not, yeah, exactly. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Yeah, and so look, exports have been, it is the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Yeah, so there's been a lot of emphasis on exports. So I'm not sure if this new person that he's putting in here, get his name, Dr. Ezra Yakusak, as the new executive director and chief executive officer of the Export Promotion Council. I know what it's like to work at the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Ayo, what do you think it's like? What does the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, what are they promoting? Since oil is essentially all, we export other things, but I would hope that this new, he's taken over from Segun Awolowo.
Yes.
Yeah, chief executive officer of the NEPC in February 2018. So I think, look, it's folks like him, the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, also the Ministry of Trade and Investments. Those are, okay, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sorry about that. We lost you for a moment. Okay. So we got your take on what's been happening with FBNH. Thank you so much. And I guess we've got a couple minutes to go. Are there any messages, or do we have one?
Okay, right. Just one message, right? Okay, no, it's not. We don't have a message yet. But I was just going to say something, right? In terms of the NEPC Rotus. By the way, Abimbola, we're talking about the Nigerian Export Promotion Council and the newly appointed ED. Now, Rotus, one of the things that you see on their website in terms of, it must be a tough job for anyone who is taking it on, because what exactly are we promoting in terms of exports? We do have products, but I see on their website, it's almost like just showcasing, as the name implies, the products that we have on offer. So if you go to the cocoa beans subsector section, you see a detailed profile of the cocoa beans, the states where it can be found, quality standards. So that's basically what they're doing. It's an opportunity for potential buyers from around the world to go on their website and see what they can get from Nigeria. Now, in terms of how effective or translating to actual buying, that's where I guess where you talk about where the challenge would be. It's one thing to advertise. It's another thing to see, number one, level of production. In terms of amount of things produced, if it meets world standards, and just what the government is doing. I think maybe the NEPC should focus more on improving local production and quality of products, so that we wouldn't have to do a lot of work in trying to attract buyers.
Economist Ayo Mairo-Ese, that's it. That you summarized it perfectly. That is it. Very Abimbola, Ayo, thanks for that. Abimbola, can you quickly, in just a minute, NGX saying that it wants to, that is the Nigerian Exchange Group, wanting to list its own shares on the exchange. In a minute, less than a minute, can you quickly take us through that, Abimbola?
Okay, yes. Earlier this year, when they initially completed the NGX Group was initially listed on, admitted for trading on the NSE OTC platform. But however, we got a notification yesterday that the group intends to list its shares on the main board of the Nigerian Exchange Limited in order to be able to take advantage of the strategic opportunities open to quoted companies in Nigeria. Also, as a listed entity, though, the group will have access to a wide range of new investors, including the growing pool of institutional investors. The stock then was listed on the NSE exchange at 5 naira, but the initial listing by introduction on the NGX will be at 17.17 naira 70 kobo, and the aim to take advantage of all the opportunities on open to quoted companies will be accessible, as it will be realistic for them.
All right, great
All right,
stuff.
thank you.
Moronkola, thank you so much.
We're out of time, but just let me squeeze in 2 comments from our listeners, right? Dapo has broken it down for us, saying that the NEPC, he doesn't feel like it was they did much under the previous ED. He says he's been there a few times and they have not been helpful at all. And then Kara says Warren Buffett said, when stocks are going up, one should watch out. It's good to seek professional advice before buying. And that's what you mentioned. I think you always emphasize on that, Rotus.
Oh yes, please. Yeah, do. And those are solid messages for listeners. Abimbola, thank you so much.
Thank you, Abimbola.
We appreciate you joining us as well. Ayo, I guess to Tech Friday, tomorrow?
Yes, until tomorrow for Tech Friday.
Friday.
Thank you, Abimbola Moronkola, Equities Trader at Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers. All right, thanks to all our listeners. Thank you very much for participating in today's show and for your contributions as well. A big thanks to Rotus and, of course, Stanbic IBTC. Next up, we have Freshly Pressed 981 at 7:30. But before then, we have some great music lined up for you. Smooth 98.1.
Trends beyond the headlines. This